What is good, YouTube? My name is Ash Porter and welcome back to the channel. Today, this week's book vlog is this book, Robin Hood and the Caliphs Gold by Angus Donald. Now this book is book 2.3 of a 8-part, now 9-part series. Yes, that may not make sense to everyone, but the Outlaw Chronicles, my favourite book series ever, is an 8-part series. I've done 2 videos on the first 4 books and the second 4 books, which the links will be in the description down below, detailing what I love about those books, going through my favourite bits of them, all that kind of good stuff. And this book, which I only found out a few weeks ago, is a book that came out in 2020, a new book by Angus Donald. He felt like he had more story to tell, but if you've ever read the Outlaw Chronicles, they kind of have a very clear ending, and so he started doing like filler books. And so technically, according to what he wrote on Goodreads, this book is book 2.3. It fits in between what's it called? Holy Warrior and Kingsman, book 2 and book 3. And he even said on Goodreads that I think there's another book coming, book 2.5, that's like another one that fits in between those. It kind of makes sense because there's a big time gap between those books. It feels like there could be a lot happening in that time. You have characters which suddenly appear in book 3, like Hanno, which I think if I read, it doesn't say it on the back, but I think Hanno's going to appear in this book. But it's really cool. And basically the context of this book is Robin and Alan have just gone on the 3rd crusade with King Richard. They kind of failed. If you know what happens in the crusades, they kind of have a stalemate with Saladin. They never captured Jerusalem, and so everyone heads home. And I think on their way home, before Richard the Lionheart gets captured in book 3, Robin, Alan, the gang, they take up a bit of a detour, and it sounds like they're going to steal some Caliphs gold. This is going to be great. It's, like I said, set in autumn 1191, the end of the 3rd crusade. I'm well excited. Do I think this book needed to happen? Probably not, because, you know, the 8 books are fine. But if Angus Donald has got more story to tell, I'm not going to complain. What I'm interested about is this is going to be like old Robin. At the start of the Outlaw Chronicles, Robin Hood is absolutely brutal. He's ruthless. He does whatever he wants to gain wealth and power, and that's the Robin we're going to see. By the end of the series, he kind of changes a little bit. He softens. He becomes almost like a better person. But it's going to be weird going back to hardcore Robin and also young, less experienced Alan. There's a lot to do. I'm really excited to read this book. So, without further ado, let's get into the book vlog. So before I actually start reading, I just want to point this out. Look at these. These are the previous 8 books, or the original 8 books. They all are the same publisher. They're the same height. They fit well together on a bookcase. They match because they're part of a set. And then you have this book, book 2.3 or whatever it's meant to be. Now look at it. It's huge. It's like tall and thin and wide, and it just doesn't fit with the set. I'm gonna be honest, it may seem like a small thing to some of you, but for me it's quite a big thing. I like my books looking nice, matching. You know, you can't always have that, but it feels like all 8 of the other books were only released by this one publisher in this one style, and they go as a set. Why, when they release this like 9th book, this 2.3 book or whatever, would they suddenly make it look different? You know, maybe because it's not technically one of the core books, one of the original 8, and so they wanted to make it stand out. I don't know, but either way, someone messed up, but I'm still going to read the flipping book. So it's really good to be back in the world of the Outlaw Chronicles in like, what is it, late 12th century. I would say England, but we're not actually in England at the moment. We're in the Mediterranean. We're on the island of Crete, and yeah, it's just good to be back. It is weird though. Like I said in the introduction, this is old school Robin. It's not the Robin you know by the end of the series. It's also like 16, 17-year-old Alan. He's a young lad at this point still. He's not the mature warrior he was. But it's also been weird transitioning, going from reading a fantasy book, like in terms of the Mistborn series into this book is like my head's just trying to get around it. However, it's good to be back. It's good to hear things from Alan's perspective. We've seen Little John. You know, when he says something, it's instantly him, and I'm loving this book so far. Sometimes when you read these books, just like Robin is so flipping greedy. Like he's just like they've just crashed onto these islands. They've got no ship, no way of escaping. They've got no money. He gets help, agrees a deal with like the guy who's in charge, and then is already betraying him, going after further wealth. Like my man is just obsessed with money. Also, I have something else to show you to do with this book. Right, so you know how I said that this book looks different to the other 8, and I wonder why? Well, I actually bought this second-hand, right? Second-hand from A Books, but it's obviously originally come from Amazon. And now, so you see, printed by Amazon, that's why it looks different. Look at this, right? Look at this layout. It just says chapter 6 and then starts it up here. Like, excuse me? What? Can we just once again appreciate the printing in this book? I mean, look at this. I would never allow Robin to be belittled in my hearing. There's not much of a hierarchy among the Sherwood men. My day is Amazon. You can't print books, can you? So, Hanno and Alan just had a conversation with this Tariq, I can't say it, guy. And apparently, he's an assassin, like the Assassins, like Assassin's Creed type vibes. Assassin's Creed, Robin Hood. It's a good fit. What's really interesting so far again about this book is that it's almost like Angus Donald is writing references in there that you'd only get if you read the later books. Like, so there's bits about Little John that this is going to be a spoiler, so maybe mute me if you haven't read the other books, but like the fact he's gay, like it's in this book, it's clear. He makes an almost reference to it when everyone else is like ogling, whatever the word is, this girl, and Little John's just staring off at the sea, like, and you know because of the later books, and things like that. And so it's really interesting. Like, I feel like that's probably not the way prequels are meant to be written, yet they also might be, because I imagine if you went back and read the other books, there might be references that you only understand having read the future books. Don't know if that makes sense. It kind of does to me. But I'm just at the point where they've just found this girl. What's her name? I've lost it. And this girl on the ship that was pretending to be a boy under the pirate lord guy, and Robin's now protecting her. And I feel like she is gonna, returning her is how Robin and Alan are gonna get money rather than stealing it. That would be my guess. I think one of the things that maybe I've never really fully appreciated until now in the Outlaw Chronicles is just what a great character Little John is. And every time there's a bit of danger, a bit of tension. Right now, Robin's in negotiations with what's this geezer's name? The like Emir of Valencia, and he's just kind of threatened them with his assassin, and Little John just stands up, talks absolute smack to the guy, even though he doesn't understand his English or French or whatever. But just the calming presence of John, that everyone knows you do not mess with him. And that's just, he's just a great character. He comes out with quality one-liners, and yeah, big up Little John, right? Have Robin and Alan just been made into slaves? Have they just been captured by the Emir of Valencia? Sorry? What? What a curveball to add to the story. Alright, so this Emir of Valencia is a bit of a dick now, isn't he? He's taken Robin captive and said, Alan, Little John, all the other few Loxley men, you have to go and capture this stronghold full of not the Templars, what are they called? The Hospitallers, similar. And so it's a pretty hard job. You have to like get in their trust, get inside, betray them, and capture this stronghold for me. Otherwise, Robin dies. And while reading it, Robin isn't going to die. So, something must happen. They must do it. So I guess now it's up to Alan, Little John, Hanno to lead the crew and to try and capture this place and possibly and probably most likely save Robin's life. And probably I reckon they're going to get away with a little gold. However, I also think, you know, they aren't loaded when they come back from the Holy Lands. And so although they have the frankincense trade, it never really speaks about any other money. And so I feel like they're not going to end up with the money. There we go. I've just finished Robin Hood and the Caliphs Gold. I just kind of tore through the final 80 pages this evening and it was good, you know? Like, I mean, it was kind of a little bit predictable in terms of, you know, Alan and John having to go off and trying to save Robin, but they didn't and they got betrayed and they helped the Hospitallers and all this kind of stuff. They fought off the Moors and then eventually Robin kind of sweeps in to save the day. Like, it's very classic Outlaw Chronicles, sort of that last minute saving the day type vibe. And as soon as I'd heard that Robin was able to go to the docks, they mentioned it earlier on, I was like, he's definitely escaping. He's going to do something. But yeah, I enjoyed that, you know. Like, I think I'm going to sleep on it and give some more thoughts tomorrow morning. But my first, like, having just finished it, my initial thoughts are, you know what? It's not as good as the rest of the books. Like, and there are times when I'm reading and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure where this fits. Like, obviously, we know where it fits, but just because it's been added at a later date, just uncertain about it. Wasn't like wholly convinced, but I did enjoy it. And it ends with that final sentence of the adventures of Robin Hood and his royal lieutenant Alan and his loyal lieutenant Alan Dale will continue in Robin Hood and the Castle of Bones. And so I think that's going to be the one that he's called technically book 2.5, where this is like book 2.3. And so I will read that as well. I have enjoyed it. It's always good to read Robin. It's always good to be with Little John. And like I said, his hilarious one-liners. And it was interesting to go back and to have a young Alan who's naive, whose battle tactics hasn't got it right. You know, there's even a moment where he's with the Castellan of this fort and he starts saying, like, how are we going to man the walls? We can't just put people every 10 yards. He's like, Alan, that isn't how you man a fortress. And Alan's like, oh yeah, okay. I got a lot to learn here. But you know, later on in life, Alan learns those things. He becomes wise. And so, yeah, it's interesting to read. I'm excited for the next book, but I will give some final thoughts tomorrow morning. It's a new morning, a new day. I slept on it thinking about what do I think of Robin Hood and the Caliphs Gold. And I'm trying to remember what I said last night, but I think my conclusion would be that, is it worth reading? Yes. Is it a good book? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Yes. But is it at the same quality and like tier as the original 8 books? No. That's just my personal opinion. You may think differently, but I think it's great. It's a great little story. It fits in. I get where, you know, I see it, but it just didn't hold up to the same standard as the other 8. Maybe because of reading the other 8, it meant that this book was a bit more predictable. It didn't have as much weight to it. You know, like the ending where Robin is held hostage and they have to go and betray the Hospitallers. That didn't have as much weight because you know Robin was going to be okay. You know that he was going to get out alive. You knew that he was going to come and save the day, which I guess you kind of know because it's fiction and they wouldn't, unless you're like George R. Martin, you don't really just kill everyone. But I think, yeah, because of that, maybe because of reading the other ones, it just doesn't hold. I think maybe if you were new to these books and you read this as like the 3rd book, actually it'd be a real quality addition to the book, to the series, and you'd really, really, really enjoy it and think, oh, this fits perfectly. But I think if you're coming back to it having read the others, it doesn't have the same quality to it. However, saying that, I'm still excited for the next book. What was it called again? The Castle of Bones. I imagine that's going to be before they get to England again, and I reckon they're going to lose a lot of this money in the Castle of Bones because I know they were wealthy at the start of book 3, but I don't think they were this wealthy, if you know what I mean. And so we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, I do recommend reading this. If you have read the series, go back and read this one. It does add a little bit of something. You know, they explore Africa, they go to other continents. That's pretty cool. You can't miss that. And so I gave this book, I think, a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. And I really do, overall, just about recommend it. Anyway, I've been Ash Porter. Thank you so much for watching this book vlog, and I will see you next time.